Hi, Scott Johnson here. I'm excited that you've chosen to join me here for the next video session. I'm excited to be able to roll out some more information to really assist you, coach you, help you move forward where it concerns your crowdfunding goals. Now, crowdfunding is huge because it represents over 500 platforms worldwide. Each individual platform focuses on a specific agenda. And all of these things are covered in my book. So I'm hoping that you're going ahead and reading through the PDF that I've supplied to you on the previous page. Now, without any further ado, I want to take you right into the second session with Mark Hamlin, who's going to walk you through and give you some case studies of others who have using this new method of Crowdfund 2.0. And then we're going to be able to explain the power of the community and how by joining together, and how cultures really have been doing this for years, they've been joining together to help each other be able to accomplish great things. So without any further ado, I'm going to take you right into that live session with Mark Hamlin. I know you're going to enjoy it.
Now, but with direct funding, for the most part, you're still pretty much on your own. You have to go out and promote. You have to go out and do the work. Are you with me? So this morning, we're going to share with you a revolutionary new way to accelerate your funding efforts for any campaign you may have, and in the process, help many others do the same. Because it's one thing for me and you to get to where we need to be economically with our projects. It's another thing if we can show other people how to get to where they need to be. How many of you would agree with that? That's true greatness, don't you think? Absolutely. So we call this accelerated funding, the way that we do it. And it's going to give you several significant abilities. The first one is the ability to help others. So something really powerful about that, because when you help other people, it has a way of coming back to you. Would you all agree with that? Yep. Yes. Absolutely. You also have the ability to get instant donations. I asked you earlier, could you use some funding right now? You're able to do that with us, as well as cash donations. Anybody use a little extra cash? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We have something called primary donations and also secondary donations, and we'll explain that to you as we go forward. And this next feature is extremely important, international donations, because we live in a global economy now. Would you agree? Yep. And when you go out there and you apply for jobs, you're competing with people from all over the world. So the way that you level that out is you have to go international just like them. Would you all agree with that? Absolutely. So now, crowdfunding is a new concept, but it's also an old concept. It comes from something called cooperative economics. Anybody ever heard of that before? I'm going to break it down for you. Cooperative economics is something that people have done throughout history to help one another when they lack the resources. So I deal with a lot of real estate agents, and one of the things I found out is that mortgages have only been around in this country since the 1930s. Mortgages were actually created and invented by the insurance company. So I asked the question, how were homes built before mortgages existed? Yeah, good question, right? Well, you either paid cash or you came together as a community to help one another. Isn't that a novel idea? Uh-huh. And so the way it works is that you would lend your time and your talents within the community to help build someone else's house. And when the time is right, the community will come over and help you build your house. Now, this concept still goes on within certain communities in our country right now. You ever heard of the Amish? Even certain organizations do it. You heard of Habitat for Humanity? But they're not the ones who created the concept. The concept goes back even before the Israelites. Now, let's talk about another concept. This is a social finance concept. It's called ROSCA. You might want to research this. It stands for Rotating Savings and Credit Association, better known around the world as the Poor Man's Bank. And I'm going to explain to you how this works. Around the world, participants make regular contributions to a fund, which is distributed in whole or in part to each contributor in rotation. So you have small groups of people, maybe 5, maybe 10, and they would all agree to put so much money in a fund. But each month, each person would get to take the entire amount, go out and start a business or fund a business. So this concept has been going on around the world for years. In fact, in Latin America, it's called tandas. In Mexico, it's called cadenas. In West Africa and the Caribbean, it's called susu. In Asia, it's called we. In Brazil, it's called Quinila, and in India and Pakistan, where I was stationed as an embassy guard, it's called the Co. And when I go out and I talk to groups, they tell me about other cultures that also have done this. Pretty interesting, right? And so this is the way around the world where people would actually come together to help each other economically. Now, this wasn't based on your credit report. This was based on your social credit, which was your ability to be a man or woman of integrity and to keep your word. Because many of those cultures, they are honor-based. And if you didn't keep your word, it would spread around the community, and not only would it affect you, it would infect your entire family. You're familiar with that? Absolutely. So I submit to you that perhaps that's the solution for the middle class in America today. People coming together in support of one another. Because guess what? That's all crowdfunding is. So we want to introduce you to a concept called community crowdfunding. And this is where people work together in similar ways to create inspired lives. What's an inspired life? An inspired life is when you have the resources to live out your gifts and your talents. Inspired life is when you have the resources to do the thing that you really love to do rather than being tied down to a job because you have to have the money in order to support your family. How many of you would like to live an inspired life? Anybody? All right. Okay, so let me stop here because I talk to a lot of colleges. And a while back I met with the college president. They invited me and his board. Now, I'm not a history professor, but I had to give him a little bit of a history lesson. Can I talk to you for a few minutes? Sure. I found out that just 200 years ago in America, 92% of people were self-employed entrepreneurs. They were farmers, they were merchants, they were artisans, and they were craftsmen. And the last thing they ever wanted to do was to have to take a job because they considered that to be wage slavery. You might want to look that word up. Wage slavery is when your ability to take care of your family is dependent on someone else paying you a salary. And that's a situation early Americans never wanted to be in. And we've gone from 92% self-employed to 92% employees. What happened? So I did a little research. This whole thing started with something called the Industrial Revolution. A little guy by the name of Eli Whitney created the cotton gin, which separated the seed from the cotton. It caused the growth of chattel slavery in the South and wage slavery in the North, where women and children worked long hours in those sweat houses. Anybody familiar with some of that? And so several things happened. First of all, the Civil War occurred. And our country began doing something that they've been doing ever since. They started printing money to pay for a war that they couldn't afford. That caused hyperinflation. The South lost, and people out of desperation had to take jobs like never before, over 40%. So you might want to look this up. There's a book out there, it's called For All the People, The Hidden Story of Cooperatives in America, written by a historian by the name of John Curl. And so we went to 92% self-employed, and a system was started in America. You have to be able to see the big picture and see if you can complete this sentence. This is what we were taught. We were taught, go to school, get a good education, so you can graduate and get a good what? Is that what we were taught? Right. Absolutely. So that system, who does that benefit? The bosses, the Andrew Carnegies, the Mellons, the Rockefellers. You know, be that what it is, well, that's the system we've been living under. Well, how well has that worked?
Great for them.
Great for them. And so the people, ladies and gentlemen, have searched to find better ways to help one another. And one of those concepts is a concept called crowdfunding. Isn't that phenomenal? Let's go a little further. So Napoleon Hill said this. He said, it's literally true that you can succeed best and quickest by helping others to succeed. How many of you would agree with that? Absolutely. Rather than doing it by yourself paycheck to paycheck, because together as a community, we're very wealthy. But it's when we try to go out there individually to do it, that's when we struggle paycheck to paycheck. Would you all agree with that? So what would happen if the people just came together just a little bit? Oh my goodness. You know, when I got out of the Marines, I was a union carpenter. I got into the union up in Virginia. And they paid us pretty good, you know, $17 to $20 an hour. And we worked some pretty long hours. But you know what? A lot of the companies, they didn't want to hire us. Anybody know why? They didn't want to pay the benefits. They didn't want to pay the retirement or anything like that. So where have unions gone in America today? They're gone bye-bye. Yeah, there's a few still out there. Are you with me? But that's when we were our strongest, when we came together. You agree with that? All right. So that's what we're talking about today. Yes, that's right. Now you can raise unlimited funds via crowdfunding for your favorite project, dream, and personal aspiration, and in the process, share it forward to help other family, friends, and business connections do the same. Truly, this is the spirit of people helping people. So what I'm going to do now is just kind of break it down for you so you can understand how we do it. One of the things about crowdfunding, it gave room for a lot of innovation. And one thing America is known for, we're known for.
All right, I hope you enjoyed listening to Mark Hamlin as he shared with you some of the nuances of some of these other crowdfunding sites and what some of the pitfalls that you want to watch out for. For instance, remember he talked about that they all charge a fee. Secondly, you're pretty much on your own as far as marketing and getting it out to other people. It's important that you understand these things before you get started and really understand why crowdfunding 2.0 is so important. Mark Hamlin also talked about the power of community and how by simply working together, in fact, he talked about many cultures that have been doing it for years and years and why they've been able to accomplish so much in life. Now, before I let you go, I want to encourage you to download the cheat sheet. We're going to use this exact same information to help you be able to take the information you write out and you just type it out into a website to help you get started with your own project. We'll see you on the next video.